that sound good?
Yeah.
Let me bring this up here. I have a slideshow. There it is. All right. So 2023 judicial races. And a lot of this information came from the PA courts themselves and a couple other sources that I'll mention as we go. This is not great to see, but I'll walk you through it anyway. So what are the judicial seats that are up in this election? So you have local minor courts. You have the Court of Common Pleas, which is probably the biggest. It's a statewide system. We'll talk a little bit about that. You have Superior Court, Commonwealth Court, and State Supreme Court. So that's what, 4 levels of courts, because Commonwealth Court and Superior Court are kind of the same level, but they're just different. They handle different things. So we have 4 different levels of courts, 5 different courts overall that we're running for. So how do you know what they are? Well, we'll give you a brief description here. In Philadelphia, the minor court, so the very bottom of that pyramid, is what we call municipal court. So they decide if serious cases get sent to the Court of Common Pleas, which is the court right above them. They handle matters such as hearings and arraignments, and in some cases, they'll set bail. So they do a lot of the lower level things that need to happen. And then it gets referred to other places. Next level up is the Court of Common Pleas. This is the general trial court in Philadelphia. So usually, if you see something in the paper about a court case, usually it happened in Court of Common Pleas because they handle civil and criminal matters. There are 459 Common Pleas court judges across 60 different statewide districts. So again, kind of the same system all across the state, but elected locally. So they'll handle appeals from the minor court. So if you go to minor court and you appeal something, they'll deal with it. And they also specifically handle matters involving children and families. So Common Pleas Court, very important, and there's a lot that goes into that. Commonwealth Court is a panel of 9 judges elected from anywhere in the state, responsible for matters pertaining to state and local government. So this is kind of a special kind of thing. They deal a lot with, like, if you sue the government, they're the ones who are going to handle it if you sue the state or local government. Trial court for lawsuits against the Commonwealth, and the cases are usually heard by panels of 3 judges. Sometimes they'll go en banc, which means they have at least 7 of them, but usually it'll be 3 judges. And this is specifically if you sue the Commonwealth. Superior Court is a 15-judge panel, and usually that's as high as you'll go with appeals. You can get to that level if you're appealing a Common Pleas Court decision. They hear appeals from criminal and civil cases for common pleas, and they'll hear all the appeals on matters involving children and families. Okay? And then you have the State Supreme Court. This is the highest court in the state. There are 7 justices. Each year, they receive over 3,000 requests for appellate review. They hear appeals from the Commonwealth and Superior Courts, and they'll automatically get referred appeals for some specific things, such as like if a death sentence is issued, they'll automatically get that appeal. And they can actually kind of intervene in lower court proceedings, and then they'll also hear requests regarding illegal detention. Okay? So I know that was a really quick overview of what they do. We'll put it in a newsletter. I think I'll even get a little more specific with it for the Friday newsletter. But that's basically what we're voting on. And all those things are fundamentally important. They're all really, really important seats. Okay? So now, as we get into that, what does our ballot look like? And this is a little hard to see. But what you'll notice is Supreme Court, there are 2 candidates up there. You vote for one. Judge of the Superior Court, there are 3 candidates. You vote for 2. Judge of the Commonwealth Court, there are 2 candidates, but you vote for 1. Now, here's where it gets even trickier. Judge of the Court of Common Pleas, you vote for 10. 10. But there are 16 candidates. And for municipal court, you vote for 2, but there are 4 candidates. So now you're thinking to yourself, well, how do I know who to vote for? There aren't any candidates forums for mayors, or for judicial candidates. You don't see a lot of advertising for judicial candidates, although you can. You don't see a lot of interviews publicly for these candidates. So how do you make a decision on this? Well, one way to do it is one of the things I consider are judicial recommendations. So the Pennsylvania and Philadelphia Bar Associations will make recommendations on judicial candidates. And they say the commission's evaluations are based on criteria such as legal ability, experience, temperament, administrative ability, integrity, and devotion to improvement of the quality of justice. So they'll actually send out questionnaires, and I think in some cases they actually do interviews with judicial candidates, and they'll give a recommendation. And so here are some of the recommendations. I just want to run through these really quick. The recommendations are highly recommended, recommended, or not recommended. All right. So you're either highly recommended, you're, summa cum laude, or you're, an average student, or it didn't work out. Those are kind of your three recommendations. So for Supreme Court, they have Daniel McCaffrey as highly recommended. For Superior Court, they have Tamika Lane as highly recommended and Patrick Dugan as recommended. For Commonwealth Court, they have Matthew Wolf recommended. And for Court of Common Pleas, their highly recommended candidates are Lightsey, Padova, Taylor Smith, and you. They're recommended, there's quite a few: Albert Braverman Brown, Francis Garcia, Joel McLaughlin, Turner, Washington, and Williams. And they have two that are not recommended: Green and Abdul Rahman. And then for municipal court, they are all, the first three are recommended: Francis Osborne and Thompson. Major is not recommended. All right. And these are where I found this information: PA Courts, Philadelphia Board of Commissioners, and the Bar Association. So that is a very, very quick, probably way too quick, explanation as what